Good morning, everybody. Matthew Cook here, the Tactical Dad on the Tactical Dad podcast. And today's episode is a big one. Yes, we are talking about the Second Amendment and gun rights. This is one that I feel like people are going to have some opinions on. So I did my very best to make good notes, and I'm doing my very best to stay sat on the fence with many things. Ultimately, I'm a believer in the Second Amendment. I think it is my right to own guns. So again, let's get that out of the way. But I'm trying to also seek to understand other people's opinion and beliefs on it too. So let's have a talk about it. Let's get into it. So let's start by really discussing the original intent of the Second Amendment. The amendment was written to protect the right of people to keep and bear arms for self-defense, hunting, and other activities. That's the original intent of the Second Amendment. The founding fathers, I believe, were well aware of the danger of a government having too much power, and they, in their infinite wisdom, wanted to ensure that the people would have the ability to protect themselves. And even to this day, not just with guns, but in everything, on a huge macro level, I don't want government to be too big. I believe government should be small. Maybe I'll rephrase that. I want the government to be as big as it only needs to be. It shouldn't control everything. It shouldn't have power over everything. It should be there to help and assist. It's there for the people. So I don't think it should be huge and have its own sort of economy. I don't think that's the right. That was never the intention with the government anyway. Well, let's look at how the Second Amendment. We'll come back to that. The actual original intent. We'll come back to that. Let's look at how it's been interpreted over time, because it has changed over the years, many years. The Supreme Court has held that the Second Amendment guarantees an individual's right to keep and bear arms, but that this right is not absolute. So this means that while citizens have the right to own firearms, the government can regulate the types of firearms that can be owned and the manner in which they can be used. So we could go down the road of talking about automatic rifles and how some states are handling that, but essentially that's what the Supreme Court is talking about. You and me, we have the right to buy, keep, to bear arms, but it's not absolute. So while we can have them, the government regulates them. These are like guns and ammo are a regulated item, so that's to be considered. So we're limited to what they can be used for most of the time, and even if we're using them in self-defense, unless you want to go to prison for a very long time, you've got to be careful how you do that as well. So let's consider how now gun laws in the US have changed over the years too. Because such like the National Firearms Act of 1934, I made note of this, so I got it completely right. The National Firearms Act of 1939 and the Gun Control Act of 1968. Let's look at how these laws have affected the sort of the culture in this country and how they've impacted the Second Amendment. Actually, what time are we on? It's already 4 minutes 54 seconds. All right, maybe we'll do a few. We'll do a few episodes of this particular discussion because it's a big one. So we'll come back to discussing certain laws and like that were passed in whatever time period, because that's going to be a hefty conversation right there. So we will come back to that, but that's all for now. We will discuss in more detail the Second Amendment and gun rights, and more specific actual gun rights in a future episode. Today we'll just stop there, but be sure to check in. I'll maybe put part 1. Yeah, I'll put part 1 for this, and then we'll do a part 2 maybe in a few more days, so we can it would probably be a good idea to share some resources on this topic as well, because I know it's a big discussion. And we talked a few days ago, or maybe it was yesterday, or the day before, we talked about how guns is firearms in general is very much deep rooted in people's values and beliefs, and then people's complete outlook on life. How me and everybody else see the world. So big topic. Let's talk about it more in a future episode. That's all from me today. I will chat to you next time. Have a good day.